Good evening to all our viewers. This is another podcast of Eagle's Nest tonight. I hope you had a wonderful Sunday and are relaxed and ready to just take it all in. This evening, we are blessed to have one of the most significant assets in our land in Bogoto. Today we've got Chairperson, Board Chair, where SEDA, that is the Small Enterprise Development Agency. She comes kwa national, kumama Xoliswa Daku. She's here tonight to chat to us about the work that SEDA is doing in bolstering the economy. yaseMzansi. We know how ailing our socio-economic conditions have become as a country. Tonight, you'll get to hear the work that SEDA is doing to make an impact. Mamudaku.
Yes.
Good evening. Good evening. Tonight, I'm excited to have you here because in SEDA we see almost what we would call the panacea in resolving our ailing socio-economic conditions, with more emphasis on the economic conditions of the country. What excites you about the involvement yaka SEDA? I know there will be lots that will excite you insofar as the impact that SEDA is making in improving the socio-economic conditions and sustaining better conditions going forward.
I think the very good part is actually to start instilling the principle of entrepreneurship and passion within our communities,
Yes.
specifically within your rural and township areas, but also generally to the South African public to understand how important it is to create and innovate specifically the products that could be sold in the market or even provide services that could grow in response to that, for the country to have the jobs that it requires. We know the high unemployment rate, and as well as also being able to grow the GDP of the country so that we can be able to resolve some of our socio-economic problems that we're having. So I think that's what excites us when we wake up every day, is instilling that culture of entrepreneurship and ensuring that more support is there to build small enterprises in the country and even start them.
That sounds very, very exciting. But I would also not underestimate the responsibility that SEDA has in accomplishing the results that SEDA seeks. And now I just would like us to talk about the district ecosystems facilitation. A very, very interesting concept because it talks ngokuhlangana, ngelima. So what are the gains that SEDA can count in working as Ilima? We're talking private sector, we're talking civil society, NGOs, the business, well, private sector, I've mentioned that, and even government as it is. So what sort of gains can you say we pride ourselves with these?
Well, if you really understand the model, SEDA is probably a product of the Department of Trade and Industry. So by default, it's operating within the space of trade and investment, but mainly focusing on developing small to medium businesses and even creating startups.
Yes.
So within that, you're part of the ecosystem. Hence then, the Department of Small Business Development was created and came up with the NISED policy, which is mainly focusing on collaboration and ecosystem partnerships. So what it means is then SEDA has made tremendous strides with regards to the partnerships that we've created with the likes of the JSE, the city spans, the mining industry, the agricultural industries, and as well as also your clothing and textile manufacturing industries. So we've done quite a lot of work. And bear in mind, besides just the inroads that we continuously make within the provinces, we've got 53 offices throughout the country, with which then link with your co-location, some of them with municipalities. And then the second thing is that we've got about 110 incubators, which are also linked with municipalities. So automatically our district development model is already existing. So it's just about alignment with the different stakeholders. We work with all the economic development and agencies within provinces. And our major aim is actually fitting the 4 pillars of ensuring that small businesses thrive in South Africa, which is training and development. We provide a lot of that. And as well as also learning and growth, ensuring that there's mentorship programs, access to finance. Bear in mind, we're a sister company to SIFA, and also with the amalgamation that is on the cards now, we've also got CBDA for cooperatives. So if you look at that, we also have She Trades, which is looking more at women, and that is all about access to market. So women in trade is something that we have recently supported and launched last year, and upon which women are supported to export, and as well as also we've got the support of ITC, EU, and as well as also the United Nations. So SEDA is everywhere where SME issues are being taken care of. We're participating now on AGOA. BRICS, who are part of the whole network. And we've got access points, because what we believe on, as much as we are having 53 offices, we have deep rural areas, especially in the Eastern Cape and KZN, where our clients are unable to reach us. So we're making sure that we have what we call access points. Access points is service providers who are probably accountants and some of them lawyers, who are then mainly providing the services of SEDA. And some of the people have been in our ecosystem but have decided to leave, and then those are called access points, and we partner with them with regards to providing the services. There's about 80 of them throughout the country. So SEDA has slowly been not promoting its brand purely because of what the fiscus is giving us. So we don't want to overpromise, because the needs of South African businesses, it's about 39,000 businesses that South Africa needs to create every year. We're unable to reach that number on our own.
My God, that's exactly where I want to go. Because, you know, having attended the 15th National Stakeholder Forum or engagement in Port Alfred this past week, I heard about STRAP. When I listened to this STRAP concept, it talks about small towns and rural entrepreneurship, small town and entrepreneurship, and rural agency. Okay. When I listened to the concept, I realized that you're going to need a lot of foot soldiers. You're going to need a lot of access points, especially in the rural areas. And when it comes to the local authority, like the municipalities, you're going to need their involvement as well. And my worry was that you are going to need financial resources. Do you share the municipal budgets? Is there an understanding that you share budgets? Who else is assisting SEDA? Because I counted a whole lot of interventions, SIFA and the rest of them. You know, there was also Kula Enterprise. So they all have got budgets. How do they all support SEDA in its endeavors ukukhavarisha wonke lo msebenzi ngakumbi rural areas?
Yes, I think ubambe kahle Mr. because eyona problem is mainly on that TRAP program. It's a very funny, because the program is meant for township and rural enterprises, and it's about supporting their businesses to grow. with tools of trade and as well as also grant support. So that program has been running through our sister company, which is SEDA. But the unfortunate thing is we are responsible for the pre-investment. So what is pre-investment? Basically making sure that the applications that people are submitting are ready for approval. So that's where then the challenge came in, upon which then the decision was then taken by the minister to move that program to SEDA. And currently that's why we have these access points. You're right in saying we work with all the LEDs of municipalities. We even for this event that is happening, we're working with Indlambe municipality, we're working with Sarah Barkman, and as well as also Imakan. Purely because as much as we get a certain amount from the fiscus, it's not adequate enough to support the resources that are required to achieve project management, which is basically making sure that all the businesses are able to be supported by SIF. So that's why we use the ecosystem collaboration. So we do work with the LEDs, but it's definitely going to be different from one to another depending on the efficiencies of the municipalities. But it's quite clear that SEDA has also got business advisors, which is about 100, and 3 that we have throughout the country. It's not adequate enough. We need more for the sectors as well. So we are looking for partnerships. That's why we call this year's theme, it's about accelerating the ecosystem relationships that we are having, because we are here to call on partners to work with us on all of these programs so that SMMEs right at the end of rural areas, is able to get the services that we want. We understand right at the end is also able to get the support that we have, because we want to see the change that is happening with regard to that space. So definitely what we are saying is that the task is quite big now, and it requires stakeholder partnerships within that. Municipalities are on board, but at certain times we also need to make sure that we educate them about our products, because bear in mind these are local economic development units. But what is good and the exciting part is with the new program that is coming up, they see that SIFA relationship is slowly growing. And we are co-locating with regards to where we are going to be. So it's almost like being at the hospital. So you're going to move from this room, pre-investment, you get into the investment, and SEDA also continues to support you with post-investment, which is aftercare. And that is the method that we are looking into as we move into the future. And we do hope that SMEs will grow. We have 10% of medium-sized businesses. We want to see 20% of that growing and also having more numbers growing rather than building businesses that are dying.
That's very important. You know, attending that conference last week in Port Alfred, that's each time they spoke about SMEs, want to develop SMEs, want to grow SMEs, I was thinking in my mind, healthy SMEs. Healthy SMEs, because that was one of the challenges that we had when we were dealing back in the day when I worked for the bank, rejuvenating this cooler program, cooler guarantee scheme. We landed up with a lot of non-performing loans, and that was due to the lack of hand-holding and training. And so I like the fact that now there are no silos when it comes to what is now SIFA and SEDA, and the training is done, and also there's ECDC, so no working in silos. Recently, the Minister of Small Business Development, Department of Small Business Development, Minister Stella Ndabeni, made a clarion call to say, let's take these services to the community quickly, with speed. And that is our heart and our intention as the Eagle's Nest. Eagle's Nest intends to be part of the work in taking all these interventions to grassroots level with speed. One of the important components thereof is civil society on the ground. Government cannot do it alone. SEDA cannot do it alone. ECDC and all of these stakeholders can never do it alone without the involvement of civil society. What is the appetite of SEDAs in identifying foot soldiers in each, if you call it village or city, and ensuring that there are hands. If you take about business plans, who writes these business plans? Especially if you're given the example that I made, that SEDA is prepared to come and make a footprint. However, there will be that element of more hands getting involved in pulling things off. What is SEDA's appetite?
Well, it's always good to have partnerships. We push for partnerships, and having foot soldiers would be a tremendous job. But as I said, that we create ambassadors as well for the products as we move along. The challenge is the limited budget that we have, which is in line with the fiscal. So if you noted, there was a medium-term statement today. So also the Minister of Finance also outlining some of the challenges that the country is faced with. So as much as we want to have all of these foot soldiers, we are also having challenges with regards to that. That's why we had only 80 of these access points established. And how we established them, it was a diagnosis with regards to specifically checking which areas SEDA is not able to reach, and then upon which we then make sure that there is a SEDA support in that area. But I suppose generically, if you look at the fact that I've spoken about all the ecosystem partners, which is, you've also mentioned, SOEs, etc. Definitely associations are also very critical, because for us to be able to make sure that there's clear support and the right SMEs are identified who require specific support, we need to have these partnerships and relationships. So Eagle Nest or any other organization that is out there should come on board, and we have conversations around this. And the interesting part is that we are in a space whereby now we're promoting the services and saying that SEDA's services should be well known. What is it that we are doing? So by having these partnerships, then it will allow us to be able to tell the good stories as well from a media perspective, where I'm able to say that these are the success stories that we are having throughout the country. So those are some of the opportunities that we should be looking into as we move forward. As I've said, that we've got various stakeholders that are keen to work with us, but the media, promotion, support, and as well as also hand-holding is limited to the capacity that we're having at the moment.
Mzansi, Nanguma Daku, the chairperson, board chair with SEDA at national level, talking to us about the opportunities SEDA azikhuphayo nomsebenzi abawenzayo. Basike sithethe ngebhokodo. I think bekukwamhlaba iyalingana. And Minister Stella Ndabeni ekhona pha. And one of the things that she was emphatic kuzo wayesit, let's engage and make sure that we are aligned to the national theme, Women's Month. Uch Minister, we must empower women so that women's socio-economic rights and empowerment and resilience is achieved. Can we talk about that?
Yes, definitely. I think I'm one of those people that have even led structures of women empowerment, the likes of South African Women Entrepreneurs Network. So it's a topic very close to my heart. So the reality is, as the Minister has said, country has got a role to ensure that 40% of its procurement is for women enterprises.
Yes.
And we are leading with regards to saying that yes, indeed, women should be empowered. As you are saying that, we also look at their status in communities and the role that they're playing those women-owned businesses, because there's been quite a lot of successes in terms of their sustainability, and also for them being able to actually ensure that they do not only rely on one specific product, but creating various services that are required by the market. So we're very much unapologetic about that. Women, but also young women, and youth in general, is part of our designated groups that we need to look into. Disability is also a critical element, and military vets. So we're doing quite a lot of job. As I've said, that besides the programs that are targeted to women with regards to the KPIs and our annual performance plan, but also there's also She Trades, ZA, which is a big program, 2,800 women throughout the country that we are currently capacitating to access the export market. This is done in partnership with ITC and the United Nations, and we are very much focusing, taking women on trade missions to ensure that they are able to access. And some success stories are quite a lot that we have, where orders have been received, where women have been able to be accredited for the export market. So that showcases the value that we are adding to them, not only at a local level, based on the KPIs that we have, which we are achieving, the structures that we have within the workplace, but also with now taking them beyond the shores of our country and ensuring that they are able to get opportunities outside there.
What I like about this conversation, it has managed to make the link between grassroots level and BRICS and SEDA and United Nations.
Yes.
Because at Eagle's Nest, it is our prayer that the men at grassroots level will know what it means when we are said as a country to be part of BRICS, to be part of the SADC, and to be part of the United Nations. What does it have to do with me? What is in it for me? Today, usicombululele no equations. Lastly, as we wrap up, my heart goes out to young people, especially bonke, but also I want to mention the fact that there are graduates out there that have gone to school and came out of school and are jobless. What excited me last week in Port Alfred was the job creation opportunities that SEDA, offers. Can you talk briefly about that as it relates to, salvaging our youth from mental health issues because of the frustration?
Well, I think one of our EDDs mentioned the fact that we analyzed these statistics also from a JAM report, which is mainly focusing on entrepreneurship and monitoring the status of entrepreneurship in South Africa. And also the Stats SA recent outcomes and the BR report, which then looks at all of this. It was quite amazing to see that we've got a very, very young country, most of our youth, and as well as also noting the fact that as much as we have them, but they are inactive.
Yes.
They are not participating in the economy. So some of the things that we have done is actually partnering with the National Skills Fund, where we're actually forcing and ensuring that 12,000 graduates are now going to be capacitated in new venture creation, which is basically focusing on the entrepreneurship side. There's more programs that we're looking at with regards to the funds which are geared towards empowering young graduates. There's also a program that we have with the different sitters, your wholesale sitters, your mere sitters, etc. So SEDA gets involved in these partnerships. That's what we talked about the ecosystem, to get these graduates to be employable, whether being able to formulate their own products or else finding job opportunities that would be out there, and indeed they will be paid with regards to these specific programs. So we are really pushing quite hard that the young people in South Africa find this space. We even have our own internal programs that we have where we offer bursaries, because when you offer bursaries to students whilst they are at varsity or even doing postgrad activities, then we consume them into our environment as interns, and we do that throughout the country. So SEDA is doing what it can with regards to the numbers that it has, but we understand the biggest obstacles when it comes to graduates is employability, depending on the courses that people have done at university. But we do hope that these 12,000 can become ambassadors. But there are various other programs. As we watch the space, you're going to see SEDA is the power, and it's making sure that we are at the forefront of ensuring that enterprises are growing.
And we will watch the space.
Thank you.
And SEDA is the lifeline
Yeah.
to our ailing economy.
Yes, yes.
Mom Daku, thank you so much for
Thank
check.
you very
We will
much.
definitely be in touch.
Yes.
Angeke sikuyeke kwa Eagles Nest.
Yes.
So uthetha ke into zimnandi kangaka. Siyabulela.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you so much for your time.
Bengumama uDaku, Xoliswa Daku, the board chair of SEDA, ukwa-national. Umama uDaku talking to us, esixelele, esicombululela, esabela ngezinto ezifumanekayo kwa-SEDA. Masiqaphele. I hope that you've taken notes and you will be listening to the podcast as we go and grabbing all the opportunities that you hear and you see and that are brought to you on a silver platter. Good night.